Okay.
There we go. Welcome, guys. And I see Paul also wants to join us. Let me drag him in there. All right.
No, don't get Paul in. Paul's a blooming jinx.
Look, he was good to me this morning. Jorge, I don't know if you saw my previous stream, the ending of it. I had the most terrifying approach into Monterey. The cloud cover was down to 900 foot. As I broke through, I was obviously high because I was trying my best to get down there, but I had the sweetest landing. Oh, my brother, it was awesome.
Excellent.
Yes. So, this is Monterey from Orbx. Remember, all my airports currently that we're flying to in this tour is Orbx. And the quality is second to none. I mean, this is absolute brilliant. All right.
Looks very beautiful.
The only difference now between this morning stream and this stream is I'm using historical weather because the weather right now stinks in that place. So, I mean, we obviously want to see where we fly and all these things. So, I had to just go for historical weather.
Roger that.
I'm just going to quickly pan a little bit this way. I love the multi-layering that's going on here.
Stop trying to convert me.
We're not trying to convert you. We're just telling you what looks nice.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right. Captain John will hopefully eventually wake up as well. But this is stunning. I'm looking at this. Everything's complete. The taxiways. You know what I really like is the airports here. The taxiways don't have the same texture over and over and over and over and over. They do a great job at blending things and breaking things up. Very little repetition, and it just looks very natural. Each airport really does have a distinct character to it.
Correct.
As it should.
Yeah. So we parked somewhere over there, I think, if I recall correctly. Yeah, there's the little birdie. I'm gonna run there. Or actually, no, what? It's just too far. It's just too far. Let's not be idiots. We can run from a closer place. Sorry for my son going crazy in the background. If it becomes a problem, please tell me, then I'll go to push to talk.
Nico, guess what I got last night for the first time? Chase plane.
Oh, yeah, I asked you about it. Okay.
I had Easy Dock before.
Yes.
When I was there, but I had never tried
Chase plane. No, that's
brilliant.
Much better for me.
Brilliant. The only drawback is the setting up of the cameras. It's kind of cumbersome having to go with the whole key thing and back and setting it. But once it's set, it's set.
Yes.
You know, aside from that, I got some awesome wing views on the 7.3, and I could not believe my eyes when I saw that, like the camera shaking effect when I did the take up roll from the wing view. That was so cool.
So cool. Right, so this little aircraft, Jorge, I don't know if you know this one, so I'm going to quickly run through a couple of things with you, yeah? This is the A2A model of the Charlie 182. It's considered, I would say, study level, because everything in this thing breaks, works, doesn't, conform to the normal flight simulator tone down, okay? So if you... let's do this. Wrong key. Empty the plane. Alright, so we'll start from the beginning. If you look at this aircraft now, you see it's got all the tie downs and everything in place. Alright, so why did it not empty this plane? Empty the plane. Alright. When we started and we get the airflow over the surfaces, I'll let you listen to the different qualities they've built in here. This is mind-blowing, all right? But what you get with this is you obviously get all these little control panels, so you can check there's your fuel flow, your endurance, everything is given there for you. Then you've got your actual power settings and stuff, and then you've got your little checklist that you can scroll through. So if you want to use a checklist, it's all there. All right. When we close that one, oh, and this is very important. You see that it says the cabin is cool and steady. You see that? You have to control the temperature in the aircraft because it can get either kind of hot or very cold. So you have to keep that in the green. I'll show you that as well. Yeah, it's very cool. Very, very cool. So in this one, you can obviously now either by clicking or by using the actual control surfaces, you know, the knobs and the buttons, actually switch things on and off. I've got the Flight 1 GTN 750 GPS in here. I'm totally madly in love with it, and this is the main reason I chose this aircraft for the tour, is for that GPS sake. All right. You can have the damage on or off and stuff like that as well. Obviously, there's your cowl flaps. This is like a little tug that connects to your front wheel, and you can actually push and pull the aircraft. All right. I never use it, so I don't know how it works. We won't say that out loud. Right, then we get to the next screen. This is now our loading screen. You will see at the end of the flight how much oil has been used, so you can then top it up. You know, it looks something like that. When I landed here today, it was something like that. So you obviously just top it up. You can then load your passengers. If I can click there, why can't I click there? Oh, it wants me to start that side first. All right. So I usually choose that guy, and then that's the girlfriend sitting next to me. And just for the loading sake, I put the gentleman that side, and I put the blonde on that side. You know, so it's kind of, if you look at the balance, it's all in balance now. Okay. Right. So and then you've got your baggage compartments, and if you watch the aircraft, you can actually physically see. Look, it goes and sits. If you start taking it away, it will start to rise again. So it's all in balance. It's all perfect the way it should be. All right.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Then you've got the hanger. All right. You can physically now check each and every of these items. You know, it will tell you if one of them broke, so you need to fix them. All right. You can then also go and you can add your additives and your oils and your things in there. I'm not going to do it. Then you can obviously change your spark plugs. You can have the fine wire or the massive wire. You'll know more than me what the difference is there. Right, so you can also change the prop. Currently I've got the 3 blade, and you can change it to a 2 blade. All right. You've got all the look, yeah. You see, you can take things off, put things back on. If you put the flap gap seals, if you don't put it on, you're obviously going to get more noise. You know, now it's going to have less noise, you know, than usual. So depending on what you want, see, you can change these things.
Very in depth. Yeah.
Very, very in depth. And then over here, you obviously get your condition report. One of the nice things here is your magnetos can actually you know, give you issues. They can give you problems. I mean, I one day sat for about 10 minutes burning them clean again to get proper RPMs from them. It's mystifying how deep these guys went into simulating all these kind of things. If you taxi and you don't taxi lean, the rubbish builds up very quickly, and then the next moment you just hear, you know, the sound, you know, and you go, oh, damn it, I forgot to lean it out, you know. So you've got to burn the carbon out. So and then the other thing, I think it's this one. You can actually now do a walk around. All right, and it tells you there to check the propeller for damage, so you can check it. Then you go to the next thing. You see, it tells you what you can do. Then it doesn't seem to do any action on that one. Some of these things have got action. So see, now we can check the dipstick. You know, I mean, it's really in depth. You can literally walk around the aircraft and check everything now. How's that? And Now we've sat on the apron a little long. Look how it's fogging up on the inside.
Oh, this is so cool. Imagine when we have a 7.3 like this.
Yeah. So now we can open doors and windows and stuff to get this going. Just want to quickly get on the outside again and actually just get
Can I
rid of.
butt in?
Yeah.
Is that why the window heat goes on very early in the Zebo?
Well, it's something similar, but I think Jorge can answer you better there.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
Mm.
The cabin, depending on the location, if the temperature outside is very different from the temperature inside of the cabin, your windows are going to fog up. But the Zebo is extremely exaggerated about it. I never saw the windows fog up ever, but that's a theory. The window heat's going to be turned on by Mr. Boeing says 10 minutes prior to departure. So
that's usually why mine don't fog up. And the one day I forgot to switch the first officer's window heat on, and I was flying and I was looking at this and I was going, what the hell? Fogged up on the one side. Then I realized what it was, but anyway, it happens to the best of us. Right, so we obviously need to give the fuel a chance to get through. So you can either use right tank, left tank, or we can use both at the same time. So that's now in place. You see I'm using my center mouse wheel with Chase Plane. So I'm scrolling in for zoom and out for zoom, and then obviously using the mouse. So I presume you've set up yours that way already.
yes. Although I did not do the zoom, I didn't know you could do the zoom with the wheel.
Yeah. That's the wheel. So
yeah, that will make it a lot easier.
Yeah. All right, because we are now tail heavy, I'm going to trim it down, nose down a bit, so that we don't have issues. Because what happens with this aircraft is it tries to lift the nose around about 70, but it's better to only do it at about 80, because otherwise it's very unstable. You have to fight it to keep it in there and to get it going. So I prefer to just trim it down a little bit. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to put on those two. Beacon and nav. Now check the fuel flow, check this gauge, you'll see it in a couple of seconds. As we now use the fuel pump, we're going to prime the engine a little bit. Alright, so we've taken some fuel. Now we can move back a little bit. And there we've got ignition. Right now, you should have heard the difference, or you will hear the difference in the magnetos once you go from both to left to right and then back again. Alright, another neat thing is when we put our headset on, listen to this. It immediately muffles that sound. What happened to Uncle John?
Great.
Oh, he's in AFK. He probably went to fetch something to eat and drink. How's this? I mean, this is just amazing what the guys did here. And this is obviously now my baby. I just want to, before we forget, put it back to GPS. There's your GTN 750. Alright. Now, little nav map where I make my plans has got the export facility into the Garmin format. So what I do is I just go and I import it. So we need to go from... Did I do this one already? KMRY. I didn't see KMRY. Oh, KMRZ. That's the one he did. Right, so we're going to store it because it's got issues, and we're going to edit it. That one needs to be removed. Yeah, go away. Alright, so we're going to fly from KMRY, just reading through KSQL, Halfman, that's right. Alright, from STINS, PYE, that one needs to be PYE. Alright, then freezer, that's fine, so that one can be removed. Alright. And we're going to activate it. And then we can find it on the map. Now, check this. Also with the mouse wheel, okay? We can literally now scroll in and out and we can move this screen. How's that?
Excellent.
For you guys in the US, this is brilliant. It's got a lot of data. For us outside of the US, depending on where you fly, it doesn't have that much because it's obviously based on the Garmin trainer. The real world Garmin trainer is running in the background feeding this one. So you guys are very lucky in the US. You get all these fancy things. Alright, so we can close that one, and what I like to do on this one, I don't have traffic loaded at this point in time, so what I do is I just put the terrain on here, and we've got some terrain warning. Right, then on this side, we have our defroster that we're going to switch on, and depending on what our little tool tells us, we're going to need some heat. So we're just pulling that little tab a bit. And that's us. We are ready to go.
Let's go for a ride.
Let's see the wind. 197 at 4. So we can literally go anyway. So why don't we just take a direct out? So we're going to go this way. One thing, Jorge, that I'm really struggling with P3D compared to explain is the sensitivities and stuff of is specifically the pitch control. For some reason, I'm really struggling with that. One day when I've got really a lot of time, I'll sit and figure it out, but I'm not happy with the pitch control yet.
Yeah, it's taken me a bit to I'm slowly tweaking the NG again to get the feel back. But I was just thinking around.
Hello, Avio man. Welcome to the stream, buddy. Just gonna pull into the run-up A and play with this mixture a little bit. Check that little sign, no visible to ATC here. Right, we're ready to go. What did that sign say? Where's that thing? Oh hell, I'm far gone. Doesn't matter. I was talking about noise abatement. No turns before freeway. Okay, we'll try and remember that. And that GPS auto zooms, you'll see it shortly as well. Just auto zooms. Right, here we go. Much better takeoff. Bye bye Monterey. Nice knowing you. I don't know where the freeway is. I think it's that one underneath us. So, okay. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
That looks good.
Very nice.
Delicious looking water.
Mmm. Hey Adam, I'm okay. How are you doing?
So, Nico, is it fully manual on the mixture?
Yeah, you gotta work that red knob yourself. What?
So when you need some power, like when you're climbing, you're running it a bit rich, and when you get to cruise, you take it back a bit?
No, there's a different way that I do it. You see this little meter, you'll see it in a few seconds. On the left, it's your exhaust gas temperature. I manage according to that. So I try and keep it a little bit richer than lean, but you can't keep it too lean or too rich, you know. So if you have it just that little bit richer than lean, you've got more power.
Got you.
The reality is, in a place like Monterey, hot, you're not gonna lean that
Yeah.
lady until at least probably 4,000 to 5,000 feet.
Yeah,
Full rich
probably.
until then, and
Okay.
then. But the prop control should be, you should start playing with the prop right now and bringing it up
Props fully
for the
forward.
climb.
Yeah, props fully forward. Can't give more.
No. I mean, you should begin to. There's got to be. I can't remember the power settings for.
Yeah. No, there's got to. I just don't fly it to that level of accuracy. If I can be modest enough like that, I fly it like a farmer.
Like a farmer. Is that what you
A
said?
farmer, yes.
But I was highly impressed that you knew how to properly prime a fuel injected engine.
Oh,
That
okay.
was impressive.
Okay, all right, cool. Thank you.
Just one little note, after priming it, bring the mixture all the way out, and then when you start, as
Yeah,
the
I
engine
know.
crinks over, push it in, but it's hard to do in a sim.
Not in this
Unless you
one,
have the little
actually.
throttle.
No, I was just lazy. Okay, in all honesty, I always do, or mostly do it that way, but I was really lazy. I knew the moment I didn't do it, I knew you were gonna say it. In this one, it really works like the real one. Believe me, it
No,
does.
I'm not nitpicking here. I'm just
Yeah, I know,
at this point I noticed that.
I know.
I mean, flying it like a pro, and the sim, of course, looks wonderful.
Mm. Yeah, it's not bad at all. On my previous PC, I couldn't have the reflections that you see there. It was really difficult to get the performance out of the PC to get reflections of the clouds like that, you know, on the water and stuff. And I'm really happy this machine is a bit stronger so it can actually do that. Paul,
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if you are aware, but Happy Camper here is actually a real pilot. That's why he knows this so well.
Wow.
I was a
Yeah.
real pilot.
Wow. He once a pilot, always a pilot. It's like getting on a bike, man. Just polish and you go.
A friend of mine just rang, and I was having to explain the extremely strange situation that I was watching a YouTube stream of a guy teaching a real pilot how to fly a pretend plane. And they really didn't understand at all.
Okay. All right. As far as I know, the best climb speed in this aircraft is about 80 knots anyway. So I'm now at about 90. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Look at that effect of the clouds coming over the windshield. That condensation.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Is that an aircraft effect or
No, that's got
Yeah.
something to do with active sky as far as I know.
I really like that.
Yeah.
So, happy camper, you're a airline pilot at 737?
Yeah, a few years ago.
Wish I could spend a few weeks with you, mate.
Stand in line, stand in line.
Absolutely. A friend of mine recently flew back from the Netherlands to the UK and was let into the cockpit while the guys were setting up. And he took a 360 photograph that he shared with me. And,
Wow.
oh, if I'd have could have got my hands on those pilots, like why is the flight director on the right hand side on and not on the left, and all sorts of mad questions I could have asked.
Well, I'm here now. Ask away. I'd be happy to. As I always say, if I'm here, I have questions, I'll be more than happy to answer. If I don't know the answer, we'll go online, we'll figure out the answer, and we'll both learn something. So as long as I'm here, you can ask whatever you want. I'm more than happy to, because I know that feeling too. And yeah, it's good to get those questions.
Well, that's very kind.
Yeah, thanks. Just before you start, Paul has been faithfully following me for a while on my channel, and a lot of questions I've actually come and asked you was stuff he asked me that I didn't know. So just to put in the picture, he's very technical, so enjoy.
One of those tough ones, huh?
Oh.
Well, I've got a background in the sciences, and so you know, we were talking, me and Nico, about the effect of air density on the lift, because Nico had a few bouncy landings, and I was wondering whether the airspeed versus lift and versus drag was different at different altitudes, and whether the graph was linear and all sorts of crazy crap like that. Yeah, so we've had a few discussions, quite tricky. But yeah, I've kind of got I seem to be able to think about thinner and thicker air and strange subjects like that. So that's why the crazy questions come out.
Yeah, sure. And that's fun stuff to think about. It actually really is interesting. I don't think a lot of people realize how much air density has a role in performance. And obviously at altitude we have not only lighter air but colder air, and the density of that cold air, the molecules are a lot tighter together. You're going to get a whole lot more, a lot better lift than you would with less dense air.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I saw some footage of a near miss with a guy flying like a stunt aeroplane, and he forgot to compensate for the temperature. It was a really hot day, and the density went down, and he couldn't do his turn in time.
Yeah, it's especially dangerous with small piston aircraft that, to start off with, don't have the power usually. Just even on a good day, those things kind of struggle to climb out. And then you throw density, altitude into the equation on a hot summer day, and that thing really doesn't want to get off the ground. Yeah, density, altitude is without a doubt a real thing. It's not just it's a little bit. No, fly in a hot summer day. Try to take this 182 out of a hot airport in the middle of summer. Well, Nico can tell you probably.
You're gonna need a long runway.
All very interrelated. That's where you get a feel for it. I'm sure. I mean, I certainly haven't, but you get a feeling for the interrelatedness of all these different effects with altitude and temperature and atmospheric pressure and whatnot.
Yeah, and our atmosphere is actually quite predictable. We've had science on it for a long time, and there are a lot of rules of thumb that really do work. And as I said, the atmosphere's, although it's ever changing, it's still very constant in terms of its laws and the way it operates. You have, for example, the standard lapse rate of 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. That is pretty standard. That's the average, right? And that stays constant, no matter the year, no matter the anything, the location. That's the Earth's standard. So just with that, just that little formula, you're able to extract a lot of stuff for performance, especially with altitude. None of this stuff is ever used by airline pilots, and I would say in real life, in terms of you don't sit there and think, okay, I'm climbing up 2 degrees cooler. No, you don't think about that stuff. Although it is important to know it, because it could eventually save your life. You never know. Temperature and dew point spread. What does that mean? And what does it mean that the atmosphere cools at 2 degrees per 1,000 feet? Well, if you've got your dew point at 34 and your temperature's 36, there's 2 degrees difference there, so you know that at about 1,000 feet you're going to see some form of visible moisture, or at 1,000 feet that temperature is going to reach the dew point and you're going to see some form of visible moisture, clouds, haze, whatever. And that is important stuff to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like with what Nico's doing right now, flying piston.
Yeah, sure. I mean, presumably the moisture content in the air has got an effect on the air density as well, and maybe how much water you chuck down a carburetor or down a jet engine. If you fly through rain, presumably it affects the power output.
I wouldn't say it. Well, let me put it to you this way: your biggest threat. You have two big threats with rain. You can actually have one or two conditions that are very dangerous. One's known as a compressor stall, and what happens is usually rain's accompanied by turbulence, right? So if you're bounced around, those jet engines, you can get into a certain angle, okay, pitch angle, where the compressor itself, the blades, okay, your fans can't fight anymore. You don't have air to suck in anymore as they want to, and they stall out, and that engine flames out. Which brings me to the second point: is you can get a flame out, a complete flame out. That's why it's important when you're in rain and stuff like that. For example, in the 7.3, you want to put those switches, your start switches, into continuous, because you want your igniters constantly firing. Because in the event, because your igniters constantly, you're only running on one side unless you're running in continuous mode, and if they're not running continuously and you have one of these compressor stalls or you have one of these conditions that would cause a flame out, then if you have them in continuous, that engine is going to hopefully not seize up on you because it has all the igniters. If one set of igniters can't light it, then the other hopefully will keep it alive. So yeah, rain does, but it's not necessarily the rain that would do it. It's more of the conditions that come along usually with rain.
Okay, so the compressor stall, is that because you've kind of lost the ram effect of moving through the air straight on, and it's more coming from the side because the turbulence is swirling the air around a bit?
Correct, exactly. It's not getting the ingestion. It's think of it as look at it this way, like drinking out of a straw. It's like you normally you would put your mouth to the straw, and the fluid would go in your mouth, right? But imagine you moving that straw slightly off your, out of your mouth. You're not gonna get anything in your mouth, right? So it's the same way. If
Sure.
if you're not flying a profile that's allowing air to be ingested and you interrupt that, you're going to have issues.
Okay, so there's a lack of ram effect as well then. So is that perhaps why you set the throttle at 40% just to check things are going to go okay when you're setting off on your takeoff roll?
Yeah, Mr. Boeing recommends 40%. It's a good value to not get the aircraft rolling like an animal down the runway, but it's enough power to get everything in that engine and all your systems, your hydraulics, your fuel. It gets them all cranking to a percentage where it's okay. We can verify that everything's getting enough juice, getting enough hydraulic fluids. My engine temperatures look good. My rotations, my N1 versus N2 are looking within range. Obviously, if they don't, the upper display will tell you, right? But that's the idea, basically, is to verify everything's stable, and then you hit it.
I've heard you can have occasional flame outs pushing the throttles too quickly, though. Is that the same sort of effect as the fan stall?
Honestly, I've never heard of that theory of pushing up the throttles too quickly will cause that. I've never heard of that or been instructed to be careful about that. So obviously I can, comment on that.
No, I just assumed that you spin them up to 40% to actually get some air going down it before you ask for a lot more. Maybe that's just my imagination.
No, not at all. Not with jet engines. EECs take care of that. They are your electronic engine control is extremely smart, and it's essentially FADEC for a fuel injected engine. So in the 7.3, they're called the ECs, and no, they are programmed to handle all those variations, push up. Because if you're coming in with a crosswind for landing and stuff like that, that throttle's going up fast, and you're cutting it fast, going back up fast, and no, that has, to my knowledge, again, no effect.
I never knew, sorry guys, to change the subject quickly, I never knew we were so far from San Francisco itself. I mean, I thought we were next door, so technically maybe, but I mean, look how long we've been flying. We're at 8,500 feet and we're not even at SFO yet. It's still coming. I didn't realize it was actually that far.
Oh, okay.
I'm unfamiliar with the area. I need progressive taxi.
Now
Yeah.
Nico, would
Yes.
you mind if I invite somebody?
No, not at all.
You know Seth, right?
Seth, yeah, Sethita, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna invite him over here.
I'm going to reinforce a perfectly good national stereotype and make a cup of tea now. Back in a
Enjoy.
couple of minutes.
Enjoy.
Nico, could you send me an invite, please?
For Discord.
Yeah, for the server AstroSim.
Yeah. Would you be able to forward it if I send it as a message to you, or must I dump it in Messenger or something? That's what it looks like. Oh yeah, you can copy and paste the link. Yeah, you can do that. Jorge, are you winning? Did you reach him? Is he coming?
I don't know where he went. I think he stepped away.
Oh, okay. Because I tried to be quiet, just not to interfere with the process, but now I'm curious, so that's why I asked.
Oh, no.
Okay. So for the life of me, I don't know why we had to turn onto San Carlos and now we're just going to turn back. SFO, that's it there in front of us on that side, about 11. So I don't know why the hell this thing wants to turn to San Carlos over there and then turn back to Half Moon Bay, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, who's the captain here?
Well,
Who made this route?
Well, little navmap made the route. I'm just following it. I can interrupt it. That's quite easy. But I mean, I'm here to see the sights. This is a long tour, so I might as well see the sights. I was just curious. I don't know why I did this. But it's a rhetorical question, you know.
Roger that.
That's a strange looking estuary type thing down there. Wow.
Yeah. I was upset one day. I saw San Carlos one day. In X-Plane, it looks marvelous, and I wanted it in FSX or P3D as well. In fact, I wanted it in P3D. That's what happened. So I went to some market. I bought San Carlos. Then I tried to load it, and I saw it's a 2004 version for FS 2004. Man, I was disappointed. It wasn't compatible anymore. I couldn't do anything with it. I paid like $10 or something for it. Not the end of the world, but just the excitement, you know. Wanted to see it, and then it didn't happen. Well, there's SFO on our right hand side. You can see the runways and stuff there. We got pretty close to this airspace. By the way, I asked John if he's okay. He said he's just on the phone with Joan or Joanne. I don't know how you pronounce the name now. So he'll be back later. This airport that is the next waypoint, Half Moon Bay, is also an Orbx product. I did not buy it. I didn't see any point in buying another airport so close to the others. that I already own, because I've got the flight beam San Francisco and I've got obviously the Orbx Monterey. So it was kind of like a financial management decision not to buy Half Moon Bay as well, you know, but it is available and it looks kind of nice. So it is available in there. Oh, here we
Boom.
go. John's back.
This video is not sponsored by Orbx.
No, not at all. No, it's not sponsored by Orbx. I don't even think they know about this, and neither does A2A. It's just me and my lonesome self doing something I love. So, hey, John, you're
The
back.
BB,
Yeah,
so the BBC would
she's
have
popped off to the
announcements
loo.
like,
She's coming back shortly. No, I know Claudia probably isn't aware of it, but she's in for major surgery first thing in the morning, so she's stressing out like you can't believe.
Shame, yeah. Paul, you were saying about the BBC and the announcements.
I hope everything works out, Uncle John.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, thank you.
yeah, my
A little
best wishes
prayer,
too, mate.
a prayer wouldn't go amiss.
No, we're gonna do that definitely.
No worries, brother. We'll add it to the queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying this this stream isn't
Thank you.
sponsored by Orbx. The BBC, who aren't meant to mention advertising of any kind, would have an announcer that said, and other supplies of scenery are available.
Okay.
That was just a joke, by the way. It's just like, wait a minute. So those of you who might think that Nico's is getting a cut here
Oh,
and getting his
no.
share and making this. No, this is just pure. That what I'm trying to say
I
with that
know,
is that
I
it's
know.
just pure love for
Yeah.
aviation here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've fallen out slightly with Orbx. I bought one of the Great Britain True Earth packages, and I think the in a zipped condition it's maybe 50 gig space that you need for it, and my machine, I think I just looked at it and gave up, I think.
Oh, yeah, you need big machines to run this properly.
Well, I'm very excited because I think the end of Orbx, well, at least their business is going to significantly decrease. Hopefully, when 2020 is released, if what I see in that video is right, and they're going to use the actual like Azure type imaging with actual rendering of most large metropolitan areas, they're going to have a hard time selling their current titles. They're going to have to come up with new ideas and stuff to sell, I think, to keep afloat. Hopefully.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I stopped.
And I must say that the customer service is appalling. It doesn't exist. You're invited to go on in a chat room and just ask people, what the hell you can do about it. I don't think that's quite good enough when you've paid money.
Yeah, I hardly ever go into their forums. I don't need it, but anyway, we'll see. I stopped spending money on P3D at this point in time. Actually, a couple of months ago, probably 18 months ago already, I stopped spending money on P3D. Moved over to Explain, and this for me, this tour is to basically just get some value for some of the money that I spent, because most of these airports, apart from buying it, spawning in there, checking what it's like, and then disconnecting and going away, I've never flown into them, in or out. So this is something I had to do to get some value for money. Otherwise, I would have just wasted the money. I would have really liked to see more of the ground area, the bridge and things. Now we're going to go past and there's clouds.
It's famously misty down there, though, isn't it? I think,
Mm.
depending on the time of year. Do you recall, Nico, that I don't know how many months ago it was that soon after I found you on your streaming,
Mm-hmm.
I asked you about the complications of manually entering degrees,
Waypoints.
minutes, seconds, and such like into the FMC on a 737, and under what circumstances you might have to do it, and how come it's degrees and decimal minutes that go in the FMC, whereas on the GPS it's decimal degrees and all that nonsense. We have a pilot listening in, don't we?
Yeah, ask him. Ask him. Okay.
Oh, sorry. What was that?
No worries, no
I
worries.
was completely tuned out. What happened?
Yeah, it's fine. You're going to get a question now.
What's up?
Yeah, early on, flying 737 simulator, a friend of mine wanted to do a silly tour over the Netherlands, and the only way I could work out how to do it was by manually entering northings and eastings into the FMC. And fairly quickly I realised that the FMC took degrees and decimal minutes, whereas all the other sources of custom waypoints would give decimal degrees. And I think even in the plane itself, the readout is in decimal degrees. And so I started to ask Nico, well, under what circumstances would you have to enter coordinates manually into the FMC? And he quickly came back with oceanic flights and whatnot. But I was just wondering what the whole story was with that, to be honest.
Well, it's like Nico said, unless you're crossing over the Atlantic, you're not going to manually really enter waypoints unless you're doing test flights or something like that. The reason behind this is, waypoints, 5-letter waypoints, GPS waypoints. They're designed for a reason. They're like roads on the road. It's like all of them connect and make a highway in the sky, right? Airways and stuff like that. So when you file, it would be, imagine completely it's like getting off the road and going your own path through a dirt road, right? It's not the common thing to do because it destroys ATC flow. It destroys. It just makes things very complicated. So to answer your question, when would you do it? When you cross the Atlantic, and I never once entered one in the real life, and I flew from tip to tip on the Western Hemisphere, and never ever entered one. We did it in training in the sim, and that was about it.
Well, I did think it would be quite a rarity, but it just got me wondering. Perhaps is it like a historical leftover from before a lot of GPS navigation, where you would perhaps look at a map and there'd be perhaps a landmark with coordinates on the map that you could read and then put into an early version of the FMC, or like a VOR sometimes on a map, on a chart rather, would have.
Right. That's more. Yeah. Go ahead. Finish.
No, that was about it. Thanks.
Yeah. So you had Ian before it was. Yeah. No. I'm getting. Was it Ian? I think that was the name for it. Yeah. Inertial something navigation. I can't remember what it stands for. You can look it up. IAN. But anyway, yeah, that was like an old form of, before the FMC came around, that's how they would fly over water, right? Is through GPS coordinates. But a lot of times before even that, before you had GPS stuff, it would all be radial base, so things off of VOR, a specific radial, and then a specific distance. Or you could have an intersection of radials, so you got, VOR A off the 090 radial, and then you have VOR B 180 radial, and wherever they intersect, that's a point. That was the old form of navigation, right?
You can still put that in your FMC though as custom waypoints, I think, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. What you can do is you can go into the fix page and you can enter that value, so you can put in like ABC VOR, boom, and then you do / X amount of miles, or give it a radial and then / X amount of miles, and it will create a point there. And then what you can do is you can grab line select 1 key, and then it will create automatically. It'll give you the code, so to speak, or the correct format. And then you can go to your legs page and dump it in there, and then there you go. I don't know if the Zibo does that, but the real one is able to do that. And if you were going to do something like that, that's the way you do it. Instead of typing in the VOR, then doing distance, and then I can't even remember the formatting off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, you can do that through the fix page.
Yeah, Nico, you've got a couple of YouTube streams where you've done the departure from Dublin, where you exactly insert a waypoint in there.
Yes, yeah, I did. That takeoff from runway 28, when you do the right-hand turn out onto that VOR, is just too steep. The aircraft can't follow the lines. So we add a waypoint 4 nautical miles on a specific radial, as an extra waypoint, where we then allow the Zibo to make the turn. That was actually a quite interesting thing. Jim Vickers actually came up with a plan, because him and me and some other guys were talking about it, and I said, well, I just do a heading select and vector myself, when I'm ready I switch over back to LNAV. And he said, no, let's do this. And he gave me the idea of doing that.
So what's the real world departure from there? Is it vectors, or did they publish an impossible SID?
You should always, if at least in the sim, if you have a problem like that, there's either something wrong with the aircraft, or relook at the departure. All departures, all stars and SIDs are built with to conform to A, B, C, D category aircraft. So if it's giving you that, obviously we might have done it because the Zibos. Was this before the curved lines?
Oh yeah, long before, months before. So it's probable that Zibo has fixed it, if it was a Zibo code issue. Also, the other thing that flight simmers don't take into account is the speed restrictions, because if I recall correctly, there's a speed limit. So when we take off in the sim, we just assume the FMC is going to do it for us, and then we let it go. So by the time it needs to turn, it's way too fast to make the turn, which is common sense.
Yeah.
And that is a flight simmer's lack of understanding and implementation of the proper laws, and physics at the right time. So
there's unfortunately an epidemic in the flight sim community, and that is, I know how to program the FMC, and I know how to push LNAV and VNAV, therefore I know how to fly this airplane. The fact of the matter is, learning to program the FMC and using LNAV VNAV, it's about 20% of what you should know in terms of navigating that aircraft.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
The problem with that is that they plateau there.
Yes.
I think their egos get the best of them,
Hmm.
and they plateau. And when you try to teach them something
They
new,
get
they
angry.
resist it.
Yeah,
The fools do, at least. They get angry,
yeah,
right? They'll
yeah.
resist it. So I believe
That's the
that's a
issue.
problem
Yeah.
that will never change, and it will never change. I've given up on trying to make it change, but I will never change. I have
Yeah.
tried for many years.
Yeah.
It won't change, and we should just let them continue being fools.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this very subject earlier because I was talking about my training videos and things, and on my previous stream earlier today. The egos of people are hard to change. They might feel or say they want to change, but the moment you step on those egos, they go ballistic, and that's when I lose my interest in them to try and help them. Eh?
Yeah, absolutely. My interest, I don't know, perhaps I'm crazy about history or something. I'd like to see some of these guys fly the Zebo if the FMC packed in, and they'd be back to VORs and flying on radials and whatnot
Oh,
and
ninety
compensating for the
percent
wind.
won't. 90%
Three
of them
percent,
won't.
3% would survive.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely.
Here's the challenge of flying the jet. People say, "Oh, it's so easy." Well, here's the thing. Yeah, it's easy if you program the FMC. It's super easy. But toss them into a level C for a training session where they have to do what's known as raw data, which we do every 6 months.
Mm,
You fly the plane with, you have 4 levels of automation. The top being, LNAV, VNAV, full automation, right? And then the bottom level being raw data. Essentially, you have uh, none of the bells and whistles. You don't have LNAV, you don't have VNAV, you don't have an FMC. So plug in a radio and start navigating. What people will do, a lot of them will know how to tune the VORs, set the course to follow a radial. But what happens is they don't take into account the speed of the aircraft. So a lot of them end up overshooting, overspeeding on the descent on stars. It's an absolute disaster
mm,
because again, they're not training their minds when you're doing a flight. You should take it, and I still do. I take every single flight as a learning opportunity to get better. You're training. You're always looking to strive. You're always striving to be a better pilot and understand your equipment and how you can outsmart it before it outsmarts you,
yep.
right? And kills you, essentially.
Yes.
So it's a constant game of survival. And it's a constant game of development to feel more confident to fly that airplane, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The more confident you feel about it, the better your performance is going to be.
Yep.
So things, it goes way past, knowing that they know so many of these quote unquote facts, but at the end of the day, they don't know their butts from elbows. Okay, I know Nico doesn't appreciate cursing on this stream. All right,
Yeah.
so but that's the reality. So
Yeah.
my invitation to those people is drop the ego,
Mm, mm,
try to learn a little bit, open your mind.
mm.
Because guess what? The more you learn about a plane, the more you enjoy flying
Of
it.
course.
That's what I've found.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, there's all that nightmare scenario of chasing the NDB with a crosswind, and you end up going around in a spiral and all that stuff that you can end up doing if you haven't got the awareness.
I was lucky enough to be kind of in the one of the last waves of NDB training, so I did get NDB training, and it's not easy. NDBs are tricky, very very tricky to navigate. Like you said, winds play a huge factor. They're not like pretty VORs. These things are terrible, but it's all that they had back in the day. And when you do NDB holds, I'll never forget that. It was probably one of the most challenging things I ever had to do throughout my training is NDB holds. Um, but you know what? Again, things like that make you a better pilot because they bring awareness as to how to navigate, what the aircraft's capable of doing, how it reacts to certain winds. It'll get you thinking. Okay, I'm going to do this hold now. I'm going to turn right, but the wind's coming out of this way, so I want to compensate. How many degrees do I want to put in on my outbound leg or whatever? You know, it gets you thinking. And once you start that, usually that voice starts thinking, you know, that voice of thinking and wondering, you can't shut it off. And it's curiosity, right? And the more curious we are, I love when I get curious. I don't get that curious anymore these days, and it's not because I know so much or something. No, it's not because of that. It's just simply for other reasons. But I find that when I enjoy something, it's just, you know, when you learn it properly, you enjoy it so much more.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, now I'm either just silly, stupid, or ill-informed, not have enough knowledge on it. But oh, hang on, no, it's not that. I don't see a nav2 or a com2 in this configuration that I'm flying right now. I see there's nav1, there's com1, but I don't see a number 2 of any of these. Okay. Anyway, first time in my life I thought about it, so alright.
Look at your COM2 might be, look at your radios down there.
I don't see it. Got the autopilot, and I've got this DME, and then I've got the ADF. There's no COM2, there's no other device. I can switch it to the standard stack, then it's there, but I would have thought that there was something maybe in the second, in this little Makodi.
Nico, when you do your let's plan, I'd love to join you on one of these legs, but let's fly it raw data though. Let's get rid of all displays.
I
Let's
don't
fly
mind.
this thing VOR to VOR,
Yeah,
and let's have some fun.
of
That
course.
is where the fun lies, and it's so hard to find people who want to fly that way.
Oh, no, I'm game. I'm game. I don't mind. Look, I've gone off the track there. I want to intercept the ILS. So I'm going to actually start thinking about coming down a bit. Let's go down to 5. So, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can change this on the fly. You see, there's the normal stack. You'll see it come up in 10 seconds now. There's the normal stack. It's not initialized. It's dead. I presume it's because we didn't start up with it. Oh, there's a configuration file that I need to change. I forgot. The aircraft actually comes with a little configurator, and you need to tell it on the outside already what version of the GPSs and radio stack you want. So can't change that on the fly. I'm way too high, guys. Sorry, I need to orbit a little bit.
I assume there'd be a tremendous amount of mental arithmetic involved with flying with raw data. Rules of 60 is something I've heard about. But yeah, it sounds like you've got your head full when you're doing that kind of thing.
It's flying an airplane. It's flying an airplane, and I think it's something every simmer. I wish I could ring them all through it. I wish there was a certification process to SIM for all these punks who think they are God's gift to aviation. God's gift to aviation. I just don't get it. I don't understand why you want to. If you're passionate about something, why wouldn't you want to learn more? Why wouldn't you want to get better? I'm dumbfounded by it. I don't get it. And Nico knows it's a very sensitive topic for me, so I'm going to stop before I get going.
It's where the pleasure is in anything in life, getting better at it and the satisfaction of that.
The issue is not everybody has got that attitude. What I find is old school guys like us, we have been brought up to want to better ourselves. The younger generation have got this absolute sickening mentality of entitlement. And it's not them that need to change, it's you. You need to now fit in with them or give them a safe space. And that is hell of annoying, because that's not how God made this earth. It doesn't work that way. That's a lie from the devil. You can't operate like that.
You're absolutely right. Look, yeah. I find it, we see it here a lot, especially in the United States, and especially in the Pacific Northwest where I live. It's a very liberal, far left place, and I'll tell you, you kind of begin to walk on eggshells because you can't say anything about anyone, because then if you do, it's racism, or it's not accepting, you're violating my rights, etc., etc., etc. They're never in the wrong. I am a human, and
it's my right.
It's my right. And, but like you said, it's the spirit of the Antichrist. Yeah. It really is, and I wholeheartedly really believe now there's a new thing now, well, at least I'm just noticing, this goddess. I am a goddess. Now women are starting to say that. I'm a goddess.
Yeah.
What? You're
not. That's crazy.
You're flesh and bones, just like me, and you smell bad too in certain areas too, just like all of us. You're no goddess. Don't call yourself a goddess. And they're serious too. It's not like a joke.
Yeah, it's sad.
As for the people wanting everything now, that is, it's the cultural trend of instant gratification rather than using the other part of your brain that does the forward planning. It's entirely natural. If you give people things too easily, they expect things too easily.
Sure, exactly.
Yesterday. Go ahead, Nico, sorry.
No, I just wanted to say, and then they cry when they can't get it. Sorry, just a silly add-on.
Oh, yeah, and then they point fingers, but never at themselves. The finger's always pointing outwards. Always. Because there they go inside and find what they find. Scary place. Yesterday
lack of self-awareness, yes.
Yeah, it's an escape from reality. It's a ticket out of reality for them. And they can pull the card or they can pull the ticket whenever they want. Life doesn't work that way under your terms. So we have to adapt to. What I was going to say was yesterday I was listening on the. I'm a huge fan now of the BBN, the Bible Broadcasting Network. I love their shows on there. When I'm driving around, they have very interesting talks. And yesterday they had a doctor on there talking about this whole transgender issue. And I was shocked to learn what actually is going on. So these children, at the age, parents, if apparently the child is asked from a very early age, how do you feel? Do you feel like a man? Do you feel like a woman? Institutions, hospitals, doctors, clinics, all these places are asking these people, young kids, these questions. So they're obviously planting a seed, right? A seed of doubt in their head. It's like, well, look at my organs, I'm a man or I'm a woman, right? But if that child starts to, that seed begins to germinate, so to speak, and they tell the parents that the parents will actually begin a hormonal process about the age of 11.
Wow.
So these kids are going in for hormone therapy, beginning to prepare their bodies to, I think he said by the age of 18 or so, they're ready to start physically changing, getting into surgeries and things like that. I don't care how you look at this, what your views or what your beliefs are, but in my opinion, this is straight up child abuse.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around the fact that people stand so nonchalant about this. Yet there they are worrying about our president, Trump.
Yeah.
While kids are getting hormones pumped into at the age of 11.
Yeah, that's obviously wrong. I mean, I come from a small place in the north of England where strangeness and eccentricity is just, people just get on with people. So if you grow up, you just let loose and you turn out how you turn out. And if you turn out a bit different from everybody else, then you're accepted. Maybe if people went with that a bit more and a bit more accepting, these overreacting lunatics wouldn't resort to these crazy policies. I don't know.
Yeah, and you're right. Nico, I've been thinking about what you said too, about what's going to happen to America. And it's going to come when the Democrats come in.
Yeah.
That's what you said. We're going to lose our country. When these far lefties get into office, that's it, brother. It's over. I think our rights, what I fear is that the freedom of religion,
It's going to go as well.
It's going to go. It's going to go. And it's going to be scary that you can't walk outside, let's say, if you wanted to, walk out in public with the Bible or read your Bible, your Bible out in public or speak your beliefs. That's scary, and it's not a far-fetched idea anymore.
Nope.
It no longer is.
No, it'll happen. Right, well, guys, I missed the localizer there, it seems. I'm hoping the aircraft turns back on it, but as it loads the scenery, like right now, it's just standing still for a second, so I'm hoping, oh, there we go, hoping it comes back and that we can get back onto that localizer. It seems that it's thinking about it, but it's like it's not really doing it. We'll see now. No, Jacob, I don't have this weather, or this is not the weather that you are currently experiencing. This weather, what's it doing now? Sorry, I just want to keep an eye on this aircraft. It seems it's found the localizer. I've used historical weather because it was very, very low cloud at Monterey when I left there about an hour or so ago. So I had to find more decent weather. Now it was more decent weather that side of the bridge, but now that we're on the other side, we are here by Sonoma. You can see the weather is like terrible. It's really not nice. Right, looks like we are semi where we want to be. I can't say I've ever really tried the ILS in this aircraft. This is also something new. Looks like it's trying to track that localizer. Let's see. It's definitely descending. It's looking up, but we'll see.
The needle's looking good.
Yeah. Looks like it's holding it. Oh, and there's the ground now breaking through now as well. Visibility is getting better here by 2,000 feet.
There we go. Can't see any lights yet, though.
Very nice transition there from the clouds to the
Yeah,
out of the clouds.
very, very nice. I pulled the first notch of flaps. It bulked a bit there. I've taken it off the autopilot. Let's fly it in by hand.
Looking real good, Nico.
Yeah, I let the speed go a little bit too slow now. So it started moving, and that's when I had to just add a little bit more power there. I have not hand flown an ILS in years.
You're right on those needles, mate.
Not now anymore. No. It bulked a bit. I let it slip, unfortunately. I'm good, but I have to admit when I'm terrible too. I made a mistake. I'm gonna try catch up again.
You're looking good. I think I could start making it. Set the runway out there.
Yeah. I think it's the runway right there. Yeah, right there where the mouse is now. You'll see it shortly. I didn't do too badly, but I bet I could have done better. I'm way above the glide slope here, so localizer is one thing with the glide slope.
No, you're looking real good. Remember, the sensitivity gets super bad. Now you're gonna
Yeah.
get right back on it in just a split second.
Yeah,
You're looking good job.
thank you.
500.
Jacob, I'm sorry I'm skipping some of your questions now. Let me just get on the ground so I can concentrate on them again. Apologies for that. Look at the water fountain here on the left. It's spurting the water in the air. Wow.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I had to look. Yeah, that was the second best landing.
Like a rock star.
Good shot, sir.
Thank you so much. One of the things that is still fresh in your mind, hey, Paul, is remember when you came in here that first time and you had to speak to us and you had to break the ice and all those things. You know what really gets me still is the idea that people look at me when I do this flying. It's unnerving still, not much, but still, it's the idea that somebody's actually looking at you doing this is kind of,
Under the microscope, yeah.
yeah, it works in on me a little bit. Anyway, let's see what we can do. Let's see what Jacob said. IFR, yeah, well, to a certain extent, yes. Nautical miles, yeah, we were not far away. I have the FOI Labs 172 in X-Plane, and I think it is actually very, very good. Compared to the A2A 172, I think it is much of a muchness. They're very much similar. This is the 182, so it's got the the propeller controls extra, but basically, yeah, it's a very, very good comparison. Yeah, when somebody watches you, you tend to want to not make a mistake, and that's exactly when you do make a mistake. But look at this airport. I mean, another one of Orbx's nice ones. Like we said, I'm not getting paid. This is for the love of it. I mean, really, just look at this quality. I mean, coming in there, having that fountain, I mean, that was really special. I haven't seen anything like that apart
That
from in
was very
Vegas.
good.
Yeah. By the way, I fixed my Vegas scenery. If any of you guys saw the mishap last week, I fixed it. So this morning when we flew out of it, it was actually proper solid ground. We didn't sink into the earth again.
Oh, that was the last jinx I gave you, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, it was my silliness. Then, as we were about to take off, I realized that I actually own the, what do you call it, the scenery for the strip that Aerosoft sold me, and I forgot I was supposed to go and load that again. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing at this airport. Let's just go find a parking. So next time or sometime I will go and load the scenery again, and then, well, we're gonna pretend we're airline employees today.
Roger that.
I'm gonna park over here somewhere. Oh, there's a guy pointing to something. I think he's angry at the other guy there by the gate, not us. So that's fine.
Those animations are so cool.
Yeah.
He's having a little word with somebody over his headset, I think. Not very happy about the performance. Something.
Yeah.
I've told you so many times.
Yes, and you don't listen. Why don't you listen?
It's even given the guy a swagger.
Ah.
You haven't polished my yellow lines, you fool.
Yeah, I told you. I want yellow number 3 paint. You put number 2 on here. Do you think I don't know the difference? Anyways, welcome to Sonoma County. Gentlemen, it was an absolute pleasure having you guys here. It was awesome. It looks like the Nazi salute.
Thank you for having us. A wonderful flight.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this, guys. Thank you very much.
It's a big pleasure.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Paul. Yeah. Hit me up. Feel free to write anything.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor. Yes, thank you.
what I'll do before the next flight next week, I'll go and find some cute places and nice spots to show you guys. But I think this is about it for me now. Jacob, don't you want to join us on Discord, buddy? Seeing that you did arrive, you are most welcome. The link is in the description below the video. But other than that, I'm going to kill this. What I would suggest is look at the last 10 or so minutes of the previous stream and then watch the first 10-20 minutes of this stream. Then at least you see Monterey there. So I'm sorry you weren't here when it was live, but we did enjoy it, buddy. It was very, very nice. And that's a wrap from me. Cheerio, everybody.